Well, welcome everybody. Izzy Lazada here with Fidelity Equity Partners and Market Cap. I am so excited to be here with our guests. We're doing an update video. And gentlemen, what you have done so far with Hypercar is really, really exciting. I know we've disseminated some news announcements and things like that, but I want to turn it over to Tim Adams and John Silseth. Tim, I know you have been really forging forward on looking at how the dollars are going to be spent in the company as we're talking to people and people have interest in pouring money into the company. That's all really exciting. But you're sort of a frugal guy, frugal in nature, and you really want to drive this forward, making sure that we're just not burning through capital by the standard of a token startup would, if you will. So that's really exciting. And then we'll jump to John in just a second. But Tim, why don't you take it away and just tell us some of the exciting details that have been coming up?
Yeah, it's really important to understand the way we've approached this, that as opposed to try to, as a typical startup, build everything from the ground up, we have found partners and relationships that reduce our capital risk. We have a manufacturing partner identified, so manufacturing facilities are available. We don't have to build them. We have a distribution network that is available to us without having to build a distribution network that will provide us with service without having to build service centers. So a lot of the capital costs that a typical venture like this would be confronted with, we have been able to sidestep.
That's really exciting, especially coming from the former CEO of Lamborghini, where, if I am correct in saying this, you were really tasked with shutting the company down. And I think, by your own admission, you found some where they were bleeding out some money and plugged the holes. And we know Lamborghini today still exists, obviously. So you were a saving grace to that. Can you speak to any of that a little bit, what you typically see and how they burn through capital so quickly?
Yeah, the company was obviously not well run. The reason that they sent me there to shut it down was that Lamborghini was losing 60 cents on every dollar of revenue. And part of that was because of very fundamental mismanagement. For example, we were receiving parts that we'd ordered from suppliers that were obsolete before they were delivered because there was inadequate coordination between procurement and engineering. So some of the things we did were pretty straightforward, but one of the first things that I had to do when I got there was to shut the company down to conserve cash and take inventory and turn it into cash. And once we started to do that, we were able to turn the business around and we turned it, made it profitable. We introduced a new car in about 8 months, using obsolete inventory, by the way, and we turned all that into cash. So the people there were great. Once they realized I was trying to help, they jumped on board, and it was a very successful turnaround.
Obviously, it was because we know that they are still very much alive and well today. So, congratulations to that. John, over to you. You've sort of been like team owner and quarterback of a football team, all in the same role here. And you've been tasked with some major things to do. But there's some exciting updates with handshakes and deals that are coming around with not only our manufacturer, but also drivetrain. And I'll let you speak to all that and what that looks like. But John Silseth, bring us up to speed.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the drivetrain partners we've selected in the response to the project, being Borg Warner, being Bombardier. And the reason I talk about the drivetrain is because you've got the EV engine package in the front, you've got the ICE drivetrain in the back, then you've got your cost out of the vehicle. Riley's obviously the main vendor, very good at making things. Once you have the drivetrain cost, we've got this thing pretty well under control from a design viewpoint. And the reason we kind of went with Bombardier was their drivetrain with the dual clutch transmission in the back, where we can shift the ICE engine in 0.2 seconds without having to drop revs for the paddle shift into a four-wheel drive.
Wow.
High-tech system is really impressive. So the project's come a long way. Yes.
Did you say 0.2 seconds?
Yes, we can shift this unit in 0.2 seconds and during the shifts, we do not have to drop down revs. So we don't lose power in the back to match the ICE engine in the front. That is really the key to traction. Yes.
Well, my son's a little bit of a heavy-footed driver, and he drives a high-end vehicle, and he's always telling me about rev matching. And apparently, we're not even going to worry about that with
No,
Fighter.
in fact, I'll give you, people like numbers. Just on the ICE engine in our testing, we go 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds running the ICE engine in the back only. Just with the EV engine running the front, we can go 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds running only the EV side. Combine it into a four-wheel drive system, and we get to 0 to 100 numbers that are really impressive.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, knowing that we have some interest on the outside, and I wanted to do an update on this because we're going to be wrapping up what you guys are doing here shortly with this brief round and likely raising the valuation after some more announcements come out. But Tim or John, why don't you tell the investor here that's listening in right now that might have been sitting on the fence or saw an advertisement related to this or any of the marketing that's happened. There's an opportunity, I think, to be a part of something that's going to be substantial, in my opinion. But I'd love for you guys to share a little bit more about that. So either one of you, go ahead.
Oh, well, I will talk in more general terms to begin with. Um, this is a rapidly expanding segment in the market. There are private motor racing tracks all over the world. There are probably 30 or 40 that are being built now, expanding the segment. It's a high margin business. It's brand driven, and we have a great brand partner for us to do our manufacturing. We'll use their name. It's a less price sensitive customer base. Um, it's enthusiasts who are in a position not to be as sensitive to economic volatility as people in other segments would be. So our upside in this business is really significant. Um, I think we're in a position to capitalize on this opportunity.
That's exciting. Over to you, John.
Well, I think, and where the project's at right now, we've got our schedule done to start cutting anticipating starting to make the pre-production prototypes in October of this year, which means they'll be completed by the end of next year. And so as you're talking about an opportunity and now is an interesting time as we're seeing interest come in to do this.
And
I would also say, Izzy, I'd also point out that we're starting with the StreetFighter, which is a significant upstep from the competition that's out there, and not only in terms of performance, but also in terms of experiential driving. And we've built this design modular in a modular fashion. That means that new products and product variations can be developed without having to tool from the ground up. They'll not only be lower tooling cost, but much faster to market. So this is just the beginning of what we're going to do to build a model lineup and variations that include a significant accessories and parts and accessories business that will add to the potential of the company.
well,
And I have to jump in there, Tim, and just add that, and when our heart can recharge EV boost to an ICE engine and be on the track for 20 minutes and reboot and be lightweight, our proprietary technology is beyond anything that's commercially on the market today. Very similar to the Formula One technology that's out there today.
that's where
And
I
I
was
think that's really, really unique, and that's what we're offering customers.
That's where I was going because I know what's on everybody's mind this upcoming weekend with Monaco. In fact, a friend of mine's daughter, my goddaughter, is in Monaco to watch the F1 race. Extremely jealous about that. But do you guys see a day in the not too distant future where that is going to be more of this type of vehicle, either all electric, hybrid, something where it's that significant amount of power? I mean, you're talking about 500 horsepower hitting the wheels from a hybrid engine. I mean, that's unbelievable. Bring us up to speed with
It is true that for years now, Formula One has been operating with hybrid. So they have electric and gas. And this year they changed the rules to heavily shift the balance between EV and gas toward EV. So there's a definite trend there. And now drivers have to worry not just about max RPM and max speed. They have to harvest to get the
Yeah.
batteries charged so that
Yeah.
they can perform at a high rate during passing opportunities. So yeah, the EV trend is definitely there. It's going to continue to expand.
It's definitely a future in racing, and we're certainly at the forefront of that for the consumer.
That's what I wanted to close up here with, because and I misstated hybrid. I meant an all electric EV vehicle. Do you see a day where that's coming? And the power to be able to be on the track and the batteries that can power it for long enough, right?
I think you're right on the hybrid. I think it's always going to be a hybrid with the EV boost.
Okay. So with that being said, I mean, certainly there's plan on the technological dev sprint here for that type of vehicle for Hypercar. Right now we're releasing the StreetFighter. Hence the reason why I was saying you guys are likely going to be raising the valuation as you go into the latter stages of your round. The partnership with Riley and what they've done with manufacturing other vehicles. I mean, that's going to be second to none. So all of this is just culminating together right now, where there's a very narrow window of opportunity to say, hey, I was a part of the launch of the StreetFighter, and that's what I'm excited about. So just with sunsetting this conversation here and what you've seen with other vehicle launches, maybe through Lamborghini for yourself, Tim, or what you in your career, John, what you'd love to mention. Why don't we wrap up the conversation on what you see here to be a part of an American legacy built right here in the United States? That's super exciting.
Kim, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I see uh, the this segment being something that is going to explode, and we are in a position to provide something that is superior to anything else that's out there, both in terms of performance and driving experience. And this business is expanding. There are so many people that are getting interested in private racing and race clubs. So you're seeing batches of cars being sold to groups of people who compete with each other on these tracks. That's a next level of excitement for the track owners as well as for the drivers. So we are in a position where we're going to, I think, capitalize on this expansion and this explosion of this kind of business with something so exciting that it's going to change the dynamic of this segment.
Yeah, and I would wrap up and just add that being American and having the partners, starting with Riley, leading this project, couldn't be more excited.
It is very exciting. And folks, obviously you've seen that link come up. Click on the link to get on their schedule potentially if it merits your attention in your portfolio. I believe that it does, in my opinion, but certainly get all your questions asked because we've got a limited amount of time here. And that's the undertone that I want to make sure is signaled to everybody listening, because I know there's been another previous video. Many of you responded to that, the excitement. We're talking to some financial institutions of greater stakes, and we want that opportunity for you first when you were taking a look at this. So that window is closing. We're excited about it. As I did last time, I'm going to switch over to this video from StreetFighter, the concept car here that you'll see in there. It is really exciting what that's going to be looking like when it actually comes off the manufacturing line. But the plan is that's going to be happening, I believe, in October, like you said, John. But here's what that video looks like. We're going to cut to that. Thank you, everybody, for joining and listening. Tim Adams, John Silseth, these are the folks that are driving the Hypercar company and the release of the StreetFighter. Ta-ta for now, everybody. I'm excited about this weekend with Monaco, but I'm really excited about seeing the StreetFighter come off the manufacturing line and my investor audience being a part of that. Thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you on the next one. See you guys.
Let me tell you a story.
And it is one of the great adventures of all time.
This story is about the only true American race car manufacturer, and it started with the greatest race ever to be run.
10, 9, ignition sequence start.
This is the story of Riley Technologies and the art of racing.
1, 0, all engine.
Conceived in space, built in America.
And no nation which expects to be the leader of other nations can expect to stay behind in this race for space.
Introducing our next moonshot, the Riley StreetFighter. A technologically advanced hybrid developed and built by hand in the United States to break records and preconceptions. The art of racing is the journey to break barriers and make what was impossible possible.
No man can fully grasp how far and how fast we have come.
From NASA to today, the StreetFighter is the next chapter in this great American story.